Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking. Today we're going to talk about how to effectively use a Nodachi. Okay, so to begin with, we'll start talking about guards and stance positions. I have to say that the first time I wielded one of these, considering the excessive mass that the blade has, and it was rather difficult to use it regardless of my kendo and kenjutsu training. But applying some changes that we will discuss in this video, I noticed that it is possible to use one of these effectively. Well, let's begin with the medium, low and high stance. Chudan, Gedan and Jodan. Considering the extra mass that the sword has towards the blade, I would have thought that the low guard would have been the easiest one to hold into position, but I was wrong. I noticed that actually the middle guard, it's a lot easier to use for whatever reason that has to do with physics, I suppose, than the low guard. With the low guard, the sword tends to lean towards the ground and it requires more energy and it's therefore more tiring to hold the sword in position. Jodan no Kamae, I would say it's an in-between the two, considering that it's not as tiring as a low guard, but still middle guard or Chudan no Kamae felt less awkward. The Wacky Stance was quite comfortable, and considering the reach that the sword has, I would feel more confident using a Wacky no Kamae with a longer sword like a Nodachi rather than a katana because of the side of my body that is exposed, which is towards the enemy. And considering most of the blows that I am using from this guard felt quite natural with this Nodachi, I would say that this would be a viable guard to use. Now, another interesting point is that the sword applies a sort of pressure in my wrist when I try to keep standard kendo positions of combat. So I noticed that if I apply a slight change and I actually remove my left hand from the bottom of the hilt or the tsuka and I actually place it on the spine of the sword, this allows me to even the extra mass that the sword has towards the upper part of the blade, and it helps me balance the two. As a matter of fact, I could hold this position for hours without having problems not tiring my muscles. It's actually a very resting position. And I can also use my hand to launch quick attacks and to increase my power and to increase the efficacy of my parries. So I think that this could be a viable position of combat with a Nodachi. I've also tried applying some Hima guards. Now, I believe that this one here belongs to German longsword, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I've seen people sparring with this. And I have to say that this perhaps was the most comfortable of all. So if I were to duel or fight with a Nodachi, I would probably use this one here. Also, Wrath Guard could be a viable option. I think both would be. And what is important with launching attacks is that stabs feel pretty much the same as a shorter sword. It's just that you have extra reach, but it's not hard to recover from a stab or a thrust. But I noticed that when you cut with it, then you really need to fully commit to the blow. If you're just scared of the extra weight, if you're scared of the extra length, and you don't fully commit to the blow, it becomes really difficult to recover because you're actually trying to go against the sword's momentum. Let the sword flow, the momentum continue, and use the energy to recover rather than blocking it and trying to go counter it. Okay, well, we'll continue experimenting and let you know. But before I leave you, let me ask you one question. What are your opinions on the Japanese Nodachi? Is it a weapon that you would like to learn how to use, or is it a weapon that you're not completely interested in? Thank you very much for watching, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye.